Hey, JMU Nation, it's Dave Thomas, the radio voice for JMU football and men's basketball. We're joined now by assistant men's basketball coach Jon Cremins. Coach, how you doing? Where are you, first of all, I guess we should ask.
I'm doing great, and I'm in Atlanta right now. So how are you doing?
Fantastic. Still looking forward to getting the staff here in Harrisonburg completely. I know you're excited about that as well. This has been a different transition for you. What's been the biggest hurdle for you?
The biggest hurdle is not being around our guys, the student athletes. Usually when you first, take over, you're able to hang out with the guys, you're able to work them out, walk with them to class, eat lunch on campus. So not being around our guys is probably the toughest part because it's hard to build that relationship, through Zoom calls and just talking to them over the phone.
Has it made it difficult in talking about JMU to recruits when you're not here all the time?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. I think this day and age with the internet and, JMU has a great support staff, so able to gather a ton of information from, various people on campus. And, I was able to go on campus and tour and visit around. So, we've had a great understanding of what JMU is and what's it about, and we're able to, present that to or talk about that to recruits.
Assistant men's basketball coach Jon Cremins is our guest, and a lot of fans are going to recognize your last name with your Uncle Bobby, of course, being a very well-known coach. Has basketball always been a focal point for you?
It has. It has. I'm real close with my uncle, and obviously he was a great coach. And so growing up, we've always been around basketball, whether playing or being a huge Georgia Tech fan. So it was a great opportunity to learn from him and watch him as a coach, even from a young age. So I knew when I was ready to pick my profession, what I wanted to do.
I'm somewhat familiar with Spartanburg Methodist. I grew up not too far from there, about an hour away, and I actually covered a team that played Spartanburg Methodist. So I know there's a history there. You were a head coach there for a few years and had a lot of success. How have you been able to parlay being a former head coach into being an assistant coach into what you're doing now?
Well, that's a real good question. I think when you're a head coach, you experience, just different things you never thought you think you're prepared for when you're assistant, but you're not until you step in that role. So a lot of things that Coach Byington goes through, or a lot of decisions he makes, I've been there, I understand what he's doing and that thought process. Before Spartanburg Methodist, obviously I was assistant coach, but once you have that head coaching experience, it just makes you become a better assistant coach because you understand what the head coach is going through and the important decisions, that need to be made.
You were having success there. Was it a difficult decision to take the next step and move forward? Sometimes when you find a rhythm and a groove, coaches like to settle into that. But for you, you moved on. Tell us about that move.
It was difficult. I loved being a head coach and the special relationship I had with my players at Spartanburg Methodist. But they were all able to move on and go on to Division I or Division II schools. So, my end goal, I would love to be a Division I head coach, but I wanted that head coaching experience. And I felt that after 2 years of getting that experience, I had a great opportunity to go back in Division I as an assistant, and I decided to take that.
Being a junior college head coach, what's the biggest misconception that fans have about kids who take that route?
That they're bad students or, not high character kids. I think that's a big misconception. When I was at Spartanburg Methodist, we're one of the top academic schools for junior college. So we had most of the kids were qualifiers. I would say 95% of them, and they're all really good kids. So I think that's always the biggest misconception.
Did being in that division, being a junior college head coach, did that help you in the recruiting you do now?
It does, because you have a lot of turnover. So you have a lot of turnover. And, in junior college, you need to sign probably 7 to 8 guys every year. And that's a lot. Division I, sometimes you have 2, 3. On a high end, you'll maybe have 7 or 8 like we did this year. But, yeah, it definitely prepares you to recruit a lot of kids in high numbers.
Now, you're a Georgia native, but you've moved around a little bit. Was it difficult leaving your home state, making the move to the Commonwealth and following Coach Byington here to JMU?
No, I'm originally from New York, and but I love Georgia, but it wasn't. Coach Byington, he called me, and when he offered me the job, talked to me about James Madison, about Harrisonburg, about how beautiful the campus was and how great it was, and it's been great so far. I'm settled in. I have my house up there. So I love it so far.
Obviously, what you do keeps you very busy, but when you do find some downtime, how do you spend that? What do you do when you get away from the sport to just give your mind a rest, if nothing else?
Yeah, I enjoy, working out. It's one thing I really enjoy doing, and just hanging out with some family and friends.
You're on the road recruiting. What's the soundtrack like? Is there music playing, and what are you listening to?
That's funny. I get that question asked a lot, and honestly, I don't listen to music. And people are like, "What?" I'm on the phone so much that I don't even listen to music. I barely ever put music on or play it. So I'm on the phone the entire time, making calls, making recruiting calls, or talking to family and friends while I'm driving.
What about silence? Is that golden for you sometimes when you don't have to make a phone call and there's nothing going on?
No, I actually enjoy constantly doing something, and I have a lot of energy, so I love it. I love the fast-paced, industry we're in, so I really enjoy it.
You spent some time at College Charleston. They're a member of the CAA now. I'm sure you probably still have friends there in the area. What's their response been to you joining another league school?
Actually, I know Coach Grant, some of the guys on their staff, JD Powell, and they're great guys. When we were at Georgia Southern, we actually had a close scrimmage against them. So, we all have a good relationship with each other. But, obviously it would be fun to compete against them and be a great opportunity.
What are you most looking forward to about the new facility?
Oh, I can't wait. A lot of things. I can't wait for our guys. Really, the returners. I feel like those guys really deserve Matt Lewis, some of the other guys, Julian Wood and Mike Christmas, just to, Zach Jacobs, to go in there and be able to play in this new arena. It'd be great for Matt to break the school scoring record in that new arena. And so we're looking forward to that and playing our first game. And also when we host Virginia, that's going to be really exciting.
It's a pretty interesting schedule coming up. And of course, Coach Byington told us recently he likes playing a very aggressive schedule. How challenging is that when you're game planning? Because I've been around the team and coaches enough that your game planning time is you're turning on a dime sometimes. You got to make those plans pretty quickly. So when you're going from one school to maybe a bigger name school, how challenging is that for you, somebody putting a game plan together?
We're going to prepare the same way for everyone we play. And Coach Byington does an unbelievable job. He's extremely organized and detailed. And we're going to prepare each game like it's the most important game of the season. So when we play, maybe a non-D1, we're going to prepare against that non-D1 just like we would against Virginia. And so that's the type of approach we take every game.
Last question for you, Coach. Tell JMU Nation something that might surprise us about you.
Well, that's a good question. That's surprising about me. Oh, I got to think about that. I'm a pretty simple guy. I love basketball. I'm originally from New York. Let's see. I don't have a whole lot. That's a good question. You stumped me on that question. That's a good one. Well, my grandparents were Irish immigrants. Not a whole lot of people know that. So that's something that's, my family and I are very proud of. They came over from Ellis Island. So, that's something, not a whole lot of people know about me.
Awesome, Coach. Thanks for taking time to join us. And again, we look forward to getting you back in Harrisonburg and getting this season underway. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.